one. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me this evening, back from the grave, it's DJ Martinez. Hello, DJ.
Hey, man, it's good to be back.
What's happening, man?
Oh, not much, man. I mean, I know I did the spoiler cast with you and Connor, and that was super cool to catch up with you guys, but this is the show where I get to talk to the subscribers in the chat, and I really missed it. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back.
Isn't that exciting? Yeah, you were back for one, so it wasn't a fluke. He's really back. He's okay. I mean, you guys missed the craziness over the holidays. Like, we took off for a couple weeks to be with family and stuff, but part of it also was there was this whole crazy saga where there were like 4 different versions of DJ, and like one of them was a cyborg, and one was like a big metal guy, and he was African American, so we knew that couldn't be the real version. And yeah, there were just all these DJs. I was positive none of them were the real DJ, but he finally came back, and you know, there's a whole city that exploded, but it was worth it.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah, I'll let 1,000 cities explode before I let this company die.
Oh, I missed you, DJ. What's going on, man?
Not much, just making Pixar references, watching a lot of Disney movies. I watched a ton of Christmas movies over the break because I was like bedridden. I watched a ton of old ones that I've never seen, like The Shop Around the Corner with James Stewart, and Christmas in Connecticut, and Meet Me in St. Louis, which was by far the best one. Super great. Right under It's a Wonderful Life for me on my Christmas movie list now.
Wow. Yeah. So he's becoming a Christmas movie connoisseur. These are all things I've never even heard of.
They're from the 40s.
I say that again. You're cutting it out.
Christmas Carol. Sorry. They're all from the 40s.
We are losing old. DJ here a little bit. They're all from the 40s. That's all I heard.
Oh no, am I Cyborg DJ again?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Wait, maybe the real DJ didn't come back. Maybe it is the cyborg version. Oh no.
Oh no.
Coast City may not be the last one to fall, you guys.
Hopefully that doesn't persist. If so, maybe I'll restart and hop back in after I get
weird. And yeah, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, we had kind of an odd connection before we started. I was a little bit concerned about it, but we'll barrel ahead and hope it works out, and we'll just do another call if it becomes necessary. Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in live. Thanks for watching after the fact. If you're doing that, we are back to more or less normal here on the channel, back from the holiday break. Hope everybody is having a great New Year so far. Hope you've had a wonderful, whopping 5 days of 2021, and then it's treating you better than 2020. You know, I feel like, though, DJ, a lot of people at the end of 2020 were like, you know, good riddance, and thank goodness that whole thing's over. And I'm like, well, some of the things that made that year terrible are kind of still going on. Like, I don't want to be, you know, a negative Nelly or whatever, but it's it remains to be seen if this year is going to be that much better than last. I really hope that it is, certainly. But I felt like there was this kind of attitude of, you know, as soon as we get to January, whoo, we're fine. It's all over.
Yeah, I don't think the calendar has anything to do with most of those things. So I think we'll be we'll be all right.
Kind of arbitrary standards there. Well, years with zeros are bad, but ones are, you know, it's the opposite of Star Trek movies. The negative, the even ones are the bad ones. The even ones are the bad ones. The odd ones are the good years.
Yeah, that's how it works. I was born in an even year. So are you. So there you go.
That's true.
We're the bad years.
Yeah, we're the crappy Star Trek movies. Anyway, so, you know, strike that, reverse it. So, folks, we are going to answer lots of questions tonight, as we always do on the Captain Logan Show. We have a lead-in story, which is about, which is a story that has already been debunked, and is, basically, it's the clickbait thumbnail show this evening, because we made that thumbnail before what we thought was real news turned out to not actually be necessarily what's going on. We still wanted to talk about it, though, because I want to speculate a little little bit about what Michael Keaton's involvement is going to be in the DCEU moving forward, and in whether or not Affleck is going to stick around, and just what Batman on film is going to be like down the road. DJ, you're freezing up on me again. I'm going to go ahead and close you out and call you back.
All right, I'm going to restart my computer too, just in case. So just wait a second, or I can call back in.
Yeah, why don't you just call back in? All right, thanks, man.
See ya.
Okay, so we'll see DJ again here in a moment, and now you can see my screen with my conversation with DJ here. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about the Michael Keaton of it all, and go through kind of the debacle that was the New York Times reporter making folks think on accident. I mean, it wasn't really his fault, as far as I can tell, that we were definitely going to get a franchise of Michael Keaton movies, even though he's 70 or pushing 70. He's still like a decade younger than Patrick Stewart, though, so that didn't seem completely unplausible to me, or implausible to me, based on weird choices other studios have been making later. So we'll talk about that. DJ, if he's able to come back in and chat with us and have a good, stable connection, wants to talk about Apple TV. He's been doing a lot with that streaming service lately, so he's going to take us through a couple, 3 shows and tell us what he's been watching there. And then we will answer questions for the remainder of the time. We will go at least an hour, and we can go a full 2 if there's enough interest and enough stuff that folks want to talk about. As always, if you want to make sure that your question or your topic is discussed on air, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount. We are 85 to 90% funded by the audience these days, and we sure appreciate humbly anybody who has or ever will leave super chats or support us on Patreon or any of those kind of monetary ways. We appreciate you just being there, just being here. Don't feel the need, of course, to do that, and we will answer some pre-written questions as well, so feel free to leave those, and we'll try to get to a few. I will make sure and answer at least 2 or 3 pre-written before we even get to the super chats, so everybody just be patient with me if you've left super chats. It will be at least 15, 20, if not 30 minutes before we start getting to some of those. And here comes DJ. Everybody fingers crossed. DJ. No DJ yet. Well, let's try again. It would not be a new year without technical difficulties right out the gate. Okay, well, he is still not popping in, so we will wait a little bit for a DJ. Okay, let's go ahead and start getting into the Michael Keaton thing. So the news, as we saw it just yesterday, seemed to be, and this was reported by a lot of major outlets, that Ben Affleck was totally out, that he was going to be in the Flash movie, which I still say should be called Flashpoint and not just Flash, but whatever. The whole point of that seems to be to kind of soft reboot a little bit and bring in characters from other universes and do a big multiversal thing. And as we've been talking about for months now, we've known this for a long time, and it turns out that there wasn't really news at all about this. What was reported was based on a tweet that a New York Times reporter posted, where he was just talking about there being 2 kind of Batman-related events happening at once. People took that to mean that we were going to have multiple, or that we were going to have a Michael Keaton franchise, but not a Ben Affleck one, where he comes out and says there's going to be. It seemed like he was saying there's going to be one and not the other. The whole thing was very confusing. So let's go ahead and just take a look at it, shall we? Where did my article go? I had this up. Here it is. Okay, so Michael Keaton's Batman Return might be bigger than we thought. We'll look at the update in a second. The original article was as follows. So you had Nestor Cine or Sign, who asked Brooks Barnes this question. Brooks Barnes from the New York Times. This guy says... One second. Let's see if DJ can come back in here. Hello, DJ.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. How do I sound?
You sound fine. So
Well, that's good.
hopefully this works out. Okay, are you ready to read the non-news?
Yes, I love non-news. That's my favorite thing to read in my spare time.
So this is
Usually get it from
originally
Austin.
what was written. So this is from BatmanNews.com. In a recent profile on Warner Brothers head Walter Hamada. So this wasn't even like a news piece, like here's what's happening with the DCEU. This was a piece about the Warner's head. New York Times writer Brooks Barnes said, coming up, for instance, Warner Brothers, and this is totally out of context. I don't know what the main topic was here. Warner Brothers will have two different film sagas involving Batman. And that film sagas is what threw everybody off. Two different film sagas involving Batman, played by two different actors, running at the same time. That was a mistaken word choice. You don't say sagas. Like, fans make leaps based on a lot of particular word choice and vocabulary, right? And there are things that when we hear them, it's hard not to make certain assumptions and leaps that more, I hate to say, like lay people that aren't like consuming this stuff all the time are not going to be as careful with their word choice. So if you say saga, your average fanboy is going to expect like ongoing movie franchise. So all he meant was Flash. That's it. That's all he was talking about. He just meant that we were going to have the Flash movie and it was going to have both of those guys in it. Although it's weird that he says two different film sagas. That's what I'm confused about. So Nestor Cine Sign says, based on your Hamada piece, some have interpreted that Warner Brothers is doing two franchises starring Batman, one with Pattinson, I guess that's what he's talking about. Sorry, pardon me. So he meant one's Pattinson's Batman, and one is Flash with Batmans, right? But the Flash movie has two Batmans. So then, when he says, were you referring to Keaton as a second Batman, being part of a non-Batman-centric saga? And he just, like, were you talking about Pattinson, or were you talking about Keaton? And he just says Keaton. And because he said that, a lot of people took that to mean that, as with the thumbnail that we made that is immediately outdated, that means that Affleck is out, and Keaton is in, and we're going to do a film franchise starring Keaton moving forward. But the question wasn't even Keaton versus Affleck. It was Keaton versus Pattinson. He was just like, which one are you talking about? And all he meant was the Flash movie. So like, there was no news here. There was nothing here whatsoever. And that's why this rumor stuff drives me absolutely insane, because it didn't sound like rumor in the first place. You can have a thing that is a credible source that says a thing that everybody misinterprets, and because it's a credible source, everybody believes that whatever the headlines are is what is actually happening. So you see all these headlines that say Keaton is replacing Affleck. Affleck is definitely not coming back past Flash, and the credible source is a New York Times reporter. And we all say, well, that must be true, until you look farther into it and you go, oh, it's just a one-word tweet that this is all based on. The man said Keaton and we all lost our minds.
I love his tweet too when he's like, sorry, I was out for a few days and I came back to all this Keaton madness. And he just responded. Did you read that tweet?
Yes, that was the update. I was going to go back to that. Yeah. Been offline, moving apartments, and returned to see this Michael Keaton craziness. I was referring to the one film that Keaton has been announced as being in, not a set of his own Batman films. And then maybe don't say saga. Like, that's, I don't know. That was weird word choice. If I had info, but I like the snarkiness of this, because it's, like, I'm totally with him on this. If I had info on him beyond the Flash, I would have obviously put it in my article. So I still wanted to talk about this, partly because I wanted to discuss just briefly, once again, the nature of news in the social media era and how impossible it is to ever be sure that a thing that looks credible and is really actually happening is real until it happens, you know? I mean, it was like 10 years ago, or I guess 10 years ago now, in 2011, you had people like Eric going, I'm not going to believe that a Green Lantern movie is actually happening until I see that in the theater. Like, you have things like that have been so, like, back and forth and weird, where you're not sure if they're ever happening, where you almost want to just not comment on anything until it comes to fruition and you're absolutely sure about it. And that's why I get kind of sometimes like self-conscious, DJ, about this show, because I like commenting on and speculating about things that are, you know, happening in the culture, and particularly with superhero movies and superhero news. But I have to come at it with as much of a sense of humility as possible, and with an understanding that anything I say could be outdated in the next 5 minutes. Not even like later on when the show is over, but like right now could just not like be you know, relevant anymore, or remotely accurate. And so it's like, well, is it a waste of time? And then at the end of the day, it's like, well, yeah, like it's fun to talk about it. I guess it's only a waste of time if this is where you get your news. This should not be where you get your news. You know what I mean? Like, this is just us over the internet chatting about a thing. It's like, we're doing this because we can't all have you guys in a room with us together to discuss and speculate and guess at what might be happening. Like, that's kind of what this is. So in one way, we're sort of creating a product, and in another way, this is just a forum to have a discussion about what may or may not be happening. So I kind of wanted to just, you know, throw that point out again. And then, but I did want to talk about the Keaton thing, because I saw a lot of people, even after the New York Times reporter came out and said this was nothing, like nothing to see here. Like, I just made a tweet and you guys took the word saga and Keaton and you just lost your minds. Like, I saw a lot of people after that say, yeah, but we still can't be totally sure whether or not that's happening. Like, yes, it wasn't an idea before that exactly, but let's keep something in mind. I don't know that we should expect, like, a bunch of Michael Keaton-led Batman movies, like, you know, decades later sequels to 89, or anything like that. But wasn't originally, and again, this is me going, I don't know how much of this was rumor and how much of it was actually fact, but wasn't the discussion at the beginning, and I thought this was partly in a press release, that Keaton's Batman was supposed to be like Fury, where he was gonna, like, you'll be like the Nick Fury for the DCEU and kind of be the glue that held the thing together, and he was gonna go around recruiting people, and like that's how we were gonna bring the whole shared universe thing together. And if that's still true, then he will be in multiple movies. And so I still fully expect to see Keaton in more than one, but I don't know if we should expect him in his own movie. Not to repeat myself too much, I'm with a lot of people that say that what we really should be doing with Keaton is have him pass the Batman torch to, like, a Batman Beyond. Whether it's Keaton playing the 89 version or Keaton playing some, you know, other, like, futuristic or some version of Bruce Wayne in the future in a Batman Beyond thing, that is much more interesting to me than just putting, like, Michael Keaton back in a Batsuit and have him do more Batman. It seemed preposterous. It seemed like it should be preposterous when I first read that, and it was like, yeah, no more Affleck. Let's do the thing that they did in the first place, which was already kind of counterintuitive, in trying to compete with Marvel. We're gonna have an ongoing Batman who's in his 50s from the get-go. Let's do that again, except have it be somebody who's even past retirement age and do that. There's a good idea, right? And so the first thing I thought was, well, that's preposterous. And the second thing I thought was, well, Picard's getting a second season. Like, Picard was already weird, and then that's getting a second season. So do I really put that past Hollywood right now? Like we're so obsessed with nostalgia culture and banking on you know, old stuff that was really popular one time, and it seems safe except for that pesky mortality possibility, where it's like, well, yeah, like, that's safe. We know people will go see another, you know, 89 Michael Keaton Batman movie. DJ, I could see maybe one. And I would love that. Yeah. I would really like to see that. But this tells us nothing about Affleck. Like, we still don't know if Affleck's gonna continue on and do more movies after Flash. So, like, I kind of want to table that whole thing, because who knows? But with the 89 thing, yeah, give me one.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how the reaction is to his role in that Flash movie. I wouldn't put it past DC at all to jump on that if the reaction was positive enough. They seem to go wherever the wind blows these days.
Well, and that's why that's one of the reasons I get a little bit self-conscious about this, and it starts to feel like kind of a waste of time, maybe, to even speculate too much about it. Where it's like, well, we know what Warner's is going to do. They're gonna go wherever the wind seems to be blowing, just like you said. Like that's how they've always operated. I don't know. I still don't know why they ever announce anything. Like they clearly. They don't think they're waiting until the numbers come in, but then they change everything based on how well their last thing did. Maybe they're like lately they've done that a little bit less than they used to, but all bets are off now that they're owned by AT&T. Like who knows how they're gonna handle the business end of things down the road. So like we can't know exactly what their strategy is going to be until that movie performs. But unless it has a really, really crappy trailer, that movie is going to perform.
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of people go out first weekend. I mean, if word of mouth is, if it's a BVS situation and word of mouth is this is terrible, then maybe they won't make the returns or do as well as they were hoping they would, and then they'll go, well, maybe we don't need a Keaton Batman movie. But I think if Keaton's up for it, I think odds are we get at least something with Batman in the title with him in it. that's not just a Flash or Flashpoint or a Justice League thing or whatever it is. Like I think you'll see a Batman movie. He might not be the only Batman in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, they'll do a Batverse, and it'll just be all the Batman.
I think this whole thing is wonderfully ironic. It's deliciously ironic. Michael Keaton was very frustrated having to play the same role again when he did Batman Returns. And he's, I'm sure, mellowed out on this kind of thing since then, but he talks about it in featurettes on the Batman Returns disc, like he didn't know how to get back into those shoes and play that character again, and you can kind of see that in his performance. He's playing it a little bit differently, and it's like he doesn't want to be pigeonholed. He doesn't like repeating himself, and he also, like, I don't know how much of like a method actor Keaton is. I don't think he really is that way, but I do think he gets himself into a headspace, or at least he did this back then. I think he would get himself into kind of a headspace, and when he finished with a role, he's done with that role, and he gets himself in a new headspace. And so when he starts over again, his process, I think, is a lot more find a character than it is like his initial process is like transform yourself into a guy and invent that from the ground up. So he didn't know how to go backwards and find a guy he found already. So I think it's hilarious that we're now talking about the idea of Michael Keaton's Batman being in everything.
Well, all I want is after this goes down in like 10 years, I want a Birdman 2 where we explore what happens if that character went back to that to Birdman and like it was the biggest thing ever again, and then we get another great movie out of that.
I saw somebody in the comments earlier say that they wish that Michael Keaton would make the Birdman movie.
Like
that's
in
not
universe?
what I would do. Yeah, sort of like the Lightyear thing, right? Where you make the movie that in that continuity was the movie that made him famous and that got him typecast. But if I were making that, I would try to find some way to get Michael Keaton in there somewhere. Maybe do like the typical bookend thing where like he's looking back and reminiscing, or like wishing people would stop talking about Birdman. But I would cast a younger actor and like make the movie that was. If you did that, I think that could be really, really fun. Yeah, but I just think it's hilarious that that actor is finding himself in this place after making Birdman.
I know. It's so weird. They could drag anyone back, man. Just need enough money.
But arguably, Keaton has not... I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, that's fine. Keaton is not what?
Arguably, Keaton has not... sorry, we're having a little bit of overlap. A little bit of lag. Keaton has not had... arguably that like typecast kind of like Star Trek kind of career, right? He's not had like the Shatner problem as much. He had a period where he wasn't doing a lot, and I'm not totally sure why that is, but at least with this like kind of resurgence of his career, he's played all kinds of different roles. Like he's not been stuck. And I don't even think really after Batman, I mean, I don't think Batman messed up his career. He was getting other kinds of parts. I think some of the problem was just he was taking kind of some weird roles and getting in projects that weren't all that popular. Like looking at his career, I think it's a lot more about the choices he made after Batman than it was Batman made it hard for him to find work. You know, he did things that like, you know, like Multiplicity that like were fine but just not huge, and
like he played a snowman, live action digital snowman in Jack Frost.
Yeah, but that was during kind of a waning period. Yeah, exactly.
I still watch that movie at Christmas sometimes. Can't get away from Christmas this episode. We're just talking about Christmas all the time.
Well, we're not going to be able to get away with from Christmas regarding Batman this month either, because since Dan's and I are behind on Batmosphere, we decided even though we are past Christmas, we are going to go ahead and review Batman Noel on the next Batmosphere, and that's going to be at the end of the month. So end of January, or somewhere toward the end of January, you're going to get one more Christmas review from us. But the last point I wanted to make about this is it is interesting that after several years, and I've complained about this a lot, after several years of having a lot of Batman material without Batman in it, a lot of stuff in that universe, but without that character really, and you know, you've got Birds of Prey, and you've got the Harley Quinn TV show, and on and on and on. And it's not like, I mean, I didn't like Birds of Prey, but it's not like I have a problem with a bunch of stuff set in that universe and get away from Batman and focus on other characters. It's just I haven't had any great Batman stuff extra media in a while, and also the comics have not been the best recently either. I haven't read past the Tom King run, but I just finished the Tom King run, and oh boy, I see what people are talking about with that. My goodness. If I hear Batman say to Bane, I'm gonna break your damn back one more time, I'm done with comics. I'm just not reading anymore. My goodness, that's like 500 times he says that. Anyway, but where's my like animated Batman show? It's like it's been well over a decade since we've had one, and it's because BVS was BVS and Justice League was Justice League. It's taken a long time for the singular Batman movie to come out, and so it's very also ironic to me, DJ, that when we finally get a standalone Batman movie, that's going to be a year where we have 3 live-action Batman movies all on screen in different things. I guess 2 of them in one, and then one of them in his own thing.
Oh man, I mean, guess you can't have enough Batman. People in the comments are sick of Batman though. People are like, why do we need Batman?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I like, and I might be a little bit out of touch. I don't know. I mean, the Batman movie has had a lot of hype. People seem very excited about that based on that trailer. It does not seem to me that by and large, that character is fully played out for people and people are done with him. It does sometimes feel that way in comics, I gotta say. Like, I think it's just been a dearth of good material for a while, and so I get why people maybe still feel a little bit of Batman fatigue. I think if the right stuff comes out, we can really reinvigorate, you know, the franchise again. But I mean, DJ, I know you don't care all that much about Batman. That of course is like my big thing when it comes to superheroes, and a lot of the reason that I am here talking to you now, doing what I do. So I will always have an investment in that. But yeah, I just hope that Pattinson movie is really good, and I hope that Flash is not the most gimmicky, horribly written thing that I've ever seen, because I think there's a really good chance that it is that way. And I'm kind of curious to know, like what. Yeah, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall with the pitch meeting to Keaton. Like, I wonder why Keaton takes that and is willing to come back and play that again. Because he's one of those guys I would have been not sure it would be very easy to get him to play that again.
Yeah, I wonder what it was that pushed him over the top. I wonder if it was the fan response. I wonder if he cares about that kind of stuff, or I don't know. That's interesting.
Senior Nerd, it's been years since a singular Batman animated series, but it's been longer since we had a singular Superman animated series. That's true, but Batman was a staple on animated TV for years, and you didn't have that with Superman. Like, you had the, Superman animated series from Bruce Timm, but beyond that, Superman would just be in Justice League shows and other things. You had sort of like Star Trek, you had a really long, unbroken period of there being some kind of standalone Batman show on TV. Which ended with Beware the Batman, which is sad because that was a really good show.
We've got a couple super chats about this topic before we move on, if I may.
Absolutely.
From Azim, I am looking forward to the next solo Superman film sometime this century, after the 17th cinematic Batman reboot, of course, and the Azrael spinoff. So he's sick of Batman.
That's fair. Well, and I mean, we've really thrown that character under the bus, obviously. Like, that's almost for me like a separate conversation, because I liked Affleck in that role, of course, but BVS itself was an absolute train wreck, I think, and that was not the thing to do for a sequel to that Superman movie. So we kind of threw them both under the bus at the same time. So I mean, when I say I'm hoping that the Pattinson movie is good, and I'm excited to see like a good reboot of Batman, because we had a big misstep last time. That's not me saying that I want that at the expense of Superman. I wish we'd done that first. Like, I wish, of course, instead of BVS, that we had done a sequel to Man of Steel, because it wasn't unsalvageable. And like, I've got huge issues with Man of Steel, but there are also things I really admire about that movie, and that could have been a fine launching pad for that whole shared universe, and it just didn't work out that way. So I mean, yeah, those are kind of separate things. Like, Batman still remains in a better place than Superman, because at least Ben Affleck's performance was good, and like, even though you had that 2 Batman problem where he's kind of killing people in that movie, if you ignore the music video sequences where he's just killing people because that looks cool on screen to Zack Snyder, you get to the end of that movie and you've got something to work with that Batman. I mean, he gets really cheesy with the whole your mother's name is my mother's name as well, but at least he doesn't. At least it's not totally against the like principles and spirit of Batman in the first place, like Superman really kind of is. Like, there's stuff to work with there. And again, I don't think it was totally unsalvageable after Man of Steel. I think it definitely gets that way when you get into BVS, where you're basically saying that he's going to be a despot. Like, that will absolutely happen if Batman doesn't prevent it. As soon as you tell that story, you're in trouble. And I remember before BVS came out, DJ, I said that. I was like, I really need this movie to not be a film about Batman teaching Superman how to be Superman. And then Flash comes back from the future and says, hey, Batman, Superman's going to be a horrible, despotic nut job. Lois is the key. Anyway, you said there was another super chat related to this topic, and then I'd like to go to some pre-written if we can.
Yeah, sure. It's from Bugman Joes. He says, what do we have to do to keep Ben Affleck as Batman? So I'm guessing he's a fan of Ben Affleck's Batman.
I guess see that movie and write nice tweets and hope for the best, right? Like, I think if the critics all say that Affleck is the strongest thing about that movie, and if the critics all say Affleck is the strongest thing about the Snyder Cut, Warner's is going to work a lot harder to give him a show or another movie or something. I don't think the end is necessarily nigh with Affleck, and all signs have been pointing to his being maybe more amicable to doing more stuff even after the Flash movie. So I think all that stuff is on the table. Warner's seems to want to throw everything at the wall that they can. I'll tell you, one thing I do appreciate about this whole thing, DJ, is Warner's is willing to do what I always said we should do, it seems like. And I guess there's maybe a cynical component to that where it's like, well, yeah, if Batman's the big hot ticket right now, see, that we're just going to put 1 million of those out. But at one time, we had this obnoxious synergy thing with Batman where and Superman too, where it had to be one version across the board. With whatever you're doing on film or television, you can't have 2 live action versions at the same time. If you're doing an animated show, it's got to line up enough with the ideas of what's happening in movies and even maybe in comics. There was an embargo for a while in the 90s with Superman where he had to be the last son of Krypton. You couldn't do too much Kryptonian stuff. Now it seems like they're very much willing to do lots of different versions, and you could finally get to a place where we have different strokes for different folks. A couple or 3 different movies with Batman or different Batman movies that have very different characterizations for that character. I've always wanted to see that. Vince and I said years ago on an old GNN that there's no reason that you couldn't have 2 Batman movies happening at the same time about 2 very different versions of that character. Be so versatile. And, you know, you're in a movie theater, and that's quaint now. Back then we were talking about seeing movies in theaters, but you're seeing, you know, like this really super serious rated R, not for the kiddies movie, and then down the hall there's like a PG version that's a totally different thing. And that doesn't even mean that it has to be watered down. It could be somewhat sophisticated. It's just for the family. So they seem willing to do that kind of thing now. But I don't know what that will look like. But that could be a positive thing.
Yeah. I'm always a big proponent of that. I don't, you know, I like separate continuities and just like telling a complete story by itself or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna do something here. I have 2 pre-written questions from 2 different guys about the same topic. So I'm going to start with Cinemographic. He says on a scale, I don't know if you heard about this, but he says on a scale of 1 to 10, why or how bad an idea is it to replace Terry McGinnis with Barbara Gordon? And then Mutali says, thoughts on the rumors that Keaton is doing a Batman Beyond movie, but instead of Terry McGinnis, he is training Barbara Gordon.
Ooh, I had not heard that. Thanks for the rumor update, folks. I appreciate it. That I would have to hold out judgment on that until I saw what we were doing with it. It would be kind of a shame for Batman Beyond fans who for decades now have been wanting to see Terry McGinnis on the big screen. And I'm sure that will scream forced diversity to some people, where it's like, well, of course it's got to be a girl because you can't have like 2 white guys in a movie that are both protagonists. I'm sure some people will look at it that way. I would just want to see how exactly they handled it. Making it Barbara Gordon is somewhat strange. That it seems to me like at that point it's maybe not even Batman Beyond, but just Batman. Like an older version of Batman, maybe like in present day or something. Like, I don't know, why would it be Barbara Gordon? That's kind of weird. Would it be? Well, I don't know. I guess it just depends on how old or how much distance we decide to put with them age-wise, right? Because we have now had like very different age gaps between those characters throughout different continuities. Like, I keep thinking of it as, well, there's no way that Batman would be elderly when Barbara Gordon would be becoming Batgirl, but then you're getting closer to that if you do it in, I'm not saying this is where it would be done, but if you did it in something like the Christopher Nolan Batman continuity, like, you have a 35-year-old Batman, I would say, while you have a Gordon daughter who's an infant. So, like, at the point where, you know, if she didn't decide to become a vigilante until she's, like, in her 30s, then you have a 65-year-old Batman at that point. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you just have to make the age gap different, and you still, I guess, could set it in the future. Because I was thinking maybe it's not even futuristic. Maybe it's just he's training Batgirl. And then at that point, it's not Batman Beyond. It's just he's training a Batgirl. I don't know. But then, can you even call it Batman Beyond at that point if it's a girl? And you wouldn't call it Batgirl Beyond because you wouldn't have a previous Batgirl. It would be her being it in the first place. So, no, okay, that is kind of strange the more I'm thinking about it. Like, it's maybe too against the concept. Like, it isn't Batman Beyond at that point. It's just Batgirl set in the future. It'd be future Batgirl. Okay.
Batgirl 2099.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I said I withhold judgment. I guess I mean story-wise I would, but, like, that's not what anybody wants, right? I mean, I guess that's kind of the problem with that is if you're going to do Batman Beyond, you have to kind of do Batman Beyond.
Yeah, that seems kind of weird to me. But it's a rumor, so maybe just the people who started the rumor are the ones that want that.
Yeah, Sabertech, if they change Terry's gender or replace him with Barbara, I won't see it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I'd be curious, but again, it would seem really counterintuitive, and it would be hard not to look at it as you're just trying to appease everybody or get people to see this movie that wouldn't have seen it otherwise. And I don't know. That's not, in my mind, the right way to make things accessible.
Yeah, it's just weird because the name is Batman, right? Like if it was a superhero with a name that didn't have man in the title, you know, like if it was just Captain America or something, it wouldn't be as weird, I don't think.
Yeah, you have to question the motivation of that. Because, again, it's just completely against the concept. Like, it isn't Batman Beyond at that point, so what's the point of making it? We haven't even gotten a Batgirl movie yet. Could we do that, maybe? You know, like, I would love a Barbara Gordon movie. Obviously, I want that. This is not me, of course, and I'm sure that most everybody understands this. This is not me saying, oh, boo, female superhero movies. No. Birds of Prey is one of my favorite things. That's why I hate the Birds of Prey movie they made, because they didn't have the Birds of Prey in it. But, and it was just a crappy Harley Quinn movie, but just like I was afraid that it would be. Give me a great Barbara Gordon movie, make it a Batgirl movie, make it an Oracle movie, make it a life story movie where both of those things happen. There's all kinds of cool things that you could do with that character. And you could even link it to Batman Beyond because Barbara Gordon is supposed to be the commissioner in that future. You could have the same character in all of that stuff, and you could, like... Just because you're doing a movie with a white male lead doesn't mean that there's not plenty of room for other diverse characters, and it doesn't have to feel forced in. There's already cool female characters in Batman Beyond. And also, Barbara Gordon is already her own thing. Wait, no, you know what? The more I'm thinking about this, I hate this. Because I try to be open-minded, because at first I was like, oh, that's interesting, Barbara Gordon as Batman Beyond. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, but wait a minute, we haven't done a Batgirl movie yet. Like, and we were going to do that. Like, Whedon was supposed to direct that at one point. And that's been off the table for a long time. So, wait, now we've jumped to, why do we keep combining projects? It drives me insane. Because that's what we did with Birds of Prey. It's like, well, we want to make a Harley Quinn movie, and we want to make a Birds of Prey movie. I know. We'll make it the same thing. And now it's starting to sound like...
Two birds of prey with one stone.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out, DJ.
Sorry, I just said kill two birds of prey with one stone. I'm the robot.
Yes, he's a robot again. He is the cyborg version, and I'm afraid for my life now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I'm sorry for intimidating you, but I will destroy your planet. Your city. But anyway, yeah, if this ends up being true, it really sounds like it's the same. It's that Birds of Prey thing again, where we got to combine things. You guys just saw me completely I had like a Pokemon evolution there. Like, nope, never mind. That sounds awful. I don't want that.
That's great. I love the questions that make you do that. Let's see if this one will. John Ty, what is good fan service and bad fan service, and is all fan service bad?
Okay, before we get to that, can you put a pin in that? Because there was another super chat that was related to the whole Batman topic.
The film industry?
Actually, there's... You know what? Never mind. A lot of them are, so we'll just get to those in a minute. Before we get to that super chat, though, DJ, assuming that our connection holds, I want to give you the floor and let you talk about Apple TV, because you wanted to do that this evening.
Oh, well, you sure you want to do that tonight? We can do that tonight, but we do have a lot of super chats. I just don't want to...
Well, that's okay, but I already announced it earlier while you were gone, and so we should probably go ahead and do that. But yeah, why don't we just take a break from all of this DCEU speculation and get off the track and let DJ talk about his streaming experiences recently, and then we'll get back to super chats and some pre-written as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know if I start cutting in and out, because I don't want to completely drive people crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're good right now, so hopefully we'll hold. Yeah.
So yeah, I have been engrossing myself in Apple TV Plus lately. I know what? Who has that streaming service? I actually signed up on Christmas Day because they had the Charlie Brown Christmas. They were the only ones that had it, and I signed up for the 7 day free trial. And I was like, well, while I have this, let's just try it. Me and my wife like jumped in and we're like, let's see how many shows we can get through before the 7 day trial. So we started the morning show, which I don't know if you've heard of it, Kat, but I actually think you would really like it. I'm going to recommend that one to you, sir. It's a show about a morning show, like a Good Morning America or whatever, who has one of their main co-hosts fired because of a Me Too related kind of incident, and it takes place like the year that Me Too, or like year after like the Me Too thing blew up. But it's a really smart show. It doesn't go the way you think Hollywood would go with it. It's very like it gets into the differences between like the people that are just kind of sleeping around and the people that are actually like predators, and it like really explores that
that's
issue.
nice.
Like
It gets into
all
the nuance
kinds.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Steve Carell plays the guy who was fired. Jennifer Aniston plays his co-host, who's trying to like save her career because he's gone or their chemistry's gone. She's gonna have to get a new co-host and everything. Fantastic performance by Jennifer Aniston. If you just
You
want to
sold
see
me
a
on
great,
that. I'll try that out. Yeah, I
great
like her a
performance
lot,
by her.
and
Yeah.
we need to be tackling that topic thoughtfully. So that's wonderful. Is that a drama or a comedy or kind of both?
It is a drama.
Oh,
Very,
okay.
very, very big drama. There's all kinds of different. There's some people. It just hits every side. Like like Martin Short plays this guy who actually is kind of like a creepy predator, but then you have Steve Carell who's more of a guy like kind of like Joss Whedon who was just sleeping around on his wife, but he actually, and I won't get into it
Is
too
it
much,
all
but there's like,
major comedic actors in a really serious drama? Because
yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
well, and the guy who plays Dr. Manhattan is great in this. I don't know what his name is. Billy something?
Yeah, Crudup.
Yes, he's amazing in this. He's like this crazy, just wild card who's like you
Wow.
have no idea what he's gonna do. He's like my favorite character.
Okay, I'm
But
watching
yeah, it's
that.
just a
I don't want
great
another streaming
cast.
service, but that sounds like a thing I need to see.
Yeah, it's only 10 episodes. You might be able to get through it with the free trial. But I will say this for anyone who's interested, the service is only $5 a month. So, and that's kind of what I was going to say at the end of this is just sign up. I don't think this is one you need to keep you around. I don't know how they're going to keep people, but there are some really good shows on there. And just pop in for a month or two and then just drop off and then come back when season 2 comes out. I guess that's what I'm planning on doing. I also watched Dickinson, which is a show about Emily Dickinson, but it is a comedy. It's more
Oh,
of a comedy.
interesting.
It's
Really?
weird. I don't know if you would like this because it's like they modernize it, so it's like they talk normally, but they talk how we would talk now, and there's like modern music in it. But
Ooh,
it's
I
just
don't
like
usually like
I really
that.
like it because yeah, and I don't either. I really like it. The humor's working for me a little bit, especially the main actress is the actress who's going to be playing Hawkeye, and she's great in this, and I really am looking forward to watching her play Hawkeye now because I haven't seen her in anything. She was in Edge of 17, which I never saw, but everyone knows she's great. But I'm just late to the party on this. But she's really fun in this. I also watched this show. I just finished Dickinson today. I finished Rob McElhenney's show, and Charlie Day's show. Those are two of the main actors on Always Sunny. They did a show on here. It's about a tech company. It's about a video game company. It's a straight comedy. Dickinson's kind of in the middle. This is like a straight comedy. It's not the greatest thing, but it actually does go to some serious places. And there's an episode in the middle where they did something crazy. Episode 5 is just this like serious romantic drama, sad story about a couple broken up and artists losing their losing their art to big studios and selling out. It's really weird. It's like this comedy, but there's an episode in the middle that's completely unrelated to anything else, and it's a super. If you don't watch anything, watch episode 5 of Mythic Quest because it's really great. But yeah, there's a lot of good TV shows on there. I haven't watched a lot of the movies. There's an Anthony Mackie, Samuel L. Jackson movie that's like a period piece.
Interesting.
There is a Rashida Jones, Bill Murray kind of drama comedy
Wow.
film.
It
that I
sounds like
haven't seen.
they pulled out all the stops for a thing that no one is talking about.
Yeah, they spent so much money on this. I don't know.
It's just too many streaming services, man. Like it's gonna bomb, and it sounds like it's got good shows, and no one's gonna ever see them. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong about that if some of that stuff is as good as you're saying, but like now is not the time to saturate us with more streaming services. But if you're a studio or a company that wants to make shows and wants to get your feet into that whole thing, what do you do right now? Because I mean, I guess you just go to Netflix. I guess that's all you can really do at this point, because everybody's cutting out the middleman now. Everybody's starting their own. And so while us consumers are all saying we don't want 30 of these, the industry itself is saying, and in certain cases proving, that the way to make money with it is to start your own service and to cut out the middleman. So if you are, I mean, I sympathize. If you're a company like Apple, what do you do? Do you go to Amazon? Do you go to Netflix? Or do you make your own?
Yeah, it's weird. And Apple, and I will say this is the one thing I hate about the service. They're trying to make it like a hub for all your other services. So like when you go to the Apple TV app, Apple TV Plus is only part of the app. Everything else is there. So it shows like all the content, but then you click on it and it's like, okay, pay for this, or okay, go through your Netflix, or go through your, it's trying to be like the Amazon Fire Stick.
That's what Fire
inside
Stick
of a
does, so
streaming service. But it's weird because it's a streaming service. So you go to your Fire Stick, you click on Apple TV, and then it opens up, and then it's that again. It's really obnoxious.
Why would you do that? Why would anybody need that? You already have it on whatever you're using. Most people use smart TVs at this point.
Yeah, you don't need an Apple product to watch it. You can just go to the app on your Fire Stick or whatever. It's really weird, but they want, the Apple fanboy, the people that are Apple people through and through to get like an Apple TV, which is not, it's like the same thing as a Fire Stick, and then just use all your content.
It's that iTunes mentality where like you have to have everything on one screen, and they make it as non-user friendly as possible, where they really limit what you can do with it. And yeah,
it's really awkward. The one other thing I wanted to mention for you guys is there's a Chris Evans series, but it's not anything like he's done. It's like it's called Defending Jacob. I think it's about him defending I don't exactly know. I'll just read it to you. A family's lives are irreparably disrupted when the son is accused of murdering a fellow classmate. In this dramatic legal thriller, Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery, and Jaden Martell star in the adaptation of William Landay's best-selling novel. So that's very serious. So if you want to see Chris Evans do something completely different, and my wife's a big true crime fan, so we might check that out if we get some time after we finish the morning show. We've only got 2 episodes left of the morning show, so we're gonna.
I'm just so overwhelmed with titles of shows right now. Like every time I bring up my Fire Stick, I see more things that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet. And we talk all the time about how there's not as much cultural touchstones and ubiquitous stuff as there used to be, where like not everybody's watching the same things, and you can be in your own bubble, not just for news now, but also for entertainment and for television, movies and stuff. And it's getting to the point where, DJ, I will see things that look fascinating that I really want to watch, and I'll go, I'm never going to get to that. And I like make sure I don't look too far into it, because I'm going to be disappointed if I never sit down and watch it. And I guess, like, this is awful. I shouldn't be like this. But I think a lot of people have this. I think I have a little bit of this thing where it's like, well, nobody's talking about that, so I can't make it a priority. Like, even if it looks like the most interesting, like, for me possible thing, and maybe some of that is just like my unique position because I do this, but it's like, nobody's gonna care about me talking about that, or like, none of my friends are watching this, so I won't have anybody to talk to about it. I don't know if you do that, but like, I have a tendency, and I shouldn't be like that, but I think I do, like, subconsciously maybe have a tendency to not look at things that I know I'm not gonna have anybody to talk about with. But I guess clearly
that's true. I obviously don't have it to the extent that you have it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're watching all these shows that nobody's watching.
Yeah. It's actually been freeing to just like hone in. Let me correct myself. On one streaming service that's small, because I'm sick of like Netflix.
Correct. I think you can say hone or home. I'm not sure. I need to look into that. Anyway, that construction. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's been nice. It's been freeing to have just a streaming service that's like manageable and small, and not like, because like you said, there's so much stuff, and I hate going to Netflix because it's just like you scroll forever and you never find anything. So I don't know. It's been really cool to just like say, all right, I'm gonna take this month. I'm just gonna go through here and find stuff and try it out, and then I'm gonna cancel. I don't know. It's been pretty cool. One other thing I'll mention is there's a Foundation series coming soon. The Asimov adaptation,
I've been curious
which is
about
super
that.
cool. Which I've been listening to the audiobook of that, so I'm actually interested in that. And I don't know what else I should mention. Amazing Stories, I think it's called, is the Steven Spielberg produced reboot of that series. I've heard good things about Little America, which is an anthology show, like per episode series about like different immigrant stories. But and Fraggle Rock. Someone asked me if they had anything else that was licensed besides Charlie Brown. They have Fraggle Rock on there, which I don't know anything about, but they're also doing a new Fraggle Rock show. So if you like Fraggle Rock and you want to watch the old stuff and check out a new one, maybe check that out. I know nothing about it, but I know you know a little more about that than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fraggle Rock's one of those things that you could definitely improve on. I don't think that was ever great, but I just get leery of any decades later reboot or sequel of things these days, because it seems like 5% of those have been good lately. And that's again why I say, this might segue us back, this is again why I say I'm really surprised if it was very easy at all to convince Ben Affleck, to convince Michael Keaton to come back as Batman, because it seems like some actors have been duped into thinking that they were going to come back for things that were as good as what they did before, but different, like Patrick Stewart. But then that's a weird, murky situation, because that's not just a matter of being duped. That's also a matter of him only doing it to, as far as I understand, to get certain like messages and ideas into the show, and he was in the writer's room, so he is also partly to blame probably for why that show turned out the way it did. But I know even he hated a lot of choices they made, so I don't know. I just think maybe a lot of actors should stick to the instincts that we used to hear about all the time, which was, I don't want to repeat myself. We already did that. It was great. Let's move on. You're not hearing that as much now, and I think it's because money talks.
I guess so, man.
You know, where's the attitude of the actors from Friends? You know, like, we had a great run. We ended it while it was still really good. We had, you know, good writing quality throughout. Like, that show, however I might feel about certain episodes and certain, like, decisions that were made with certain relationships in that show and stuff, you know, like Chandler and Phoebe never getting together, freaking nonsense. But when, we were clearly building to that. Freaking nonsense that never happens. But every single actor from that show has come out and said, when they're asked the obligatory reunion question, yeah, no, why would we do that? And that should be the attitude more often, I think.
Well, to be fair, they're making millions of dollars still to this day from reruns, so they don't need to come back. Like,
that's fair. But sometimes you have people who have
that show's never
fine careers. It's not like Patrick Stewart's hurting for money either, though. Like,
yeah. Well, but it seems like he really liked coming back for that show. I don't know.
He didn't want to do it. He turned them down several times.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Jeez.
The only reason he apparently did that was so that he could talk about Brexit in a Star Trek show, and then it wasn't really about that. Or if it was, I missed it completely.
That's amazing.
Did I say I meant Joey and Phoebe? Did I say Chandler? I meant Joey. Yeah.
Okay, goodness.
We're talking about all kinds.
I've never heard that.
No, Joey and Phoebe is what I meant to say. Yeah.
I'm a David and Phoebe guy.
Man, I've heard of people like you. Anyway,
David's best. He's hilarious. I know.
Never cared about that. Every time he'd show up, I'd be like, "Oh, great, this guy again."
I just don't like Mike. I don't like Paul Rudd. But oh well. All right, we got a lot of super chats again. No one wants to hear about me talking about Apple TV anymore. But yeah, if anything I said sounds interesting, check it out. There's a free 7-day trial, and it's only $5, so you can try it out.
Okay, we are going into the second hour now and finally getting to some super chats. Let's make sure and throw in some pre-written here and there if we can as well. And I will answer these as lickety-split as I can. Go ahead. All
right. From Dimwit Monkey, longtime lurker, had to take a break from the YouTube for a while, but I watched Midwest in Panels last night and had to tune in. Happy New Year.
Oh, thanks, man. I hope you enjoyed it. thanks for finally popping in and saying hello. I always get really excited when I hear that, when somebody's like, I've watched you for a long time, I've just never actually said anything. So thanks a bunch for checking in, and I really appreciate the super chat. Happy New Year to you as well, and thanks for coming back. What else we got?
T-Edge1 has a $5 super chat. What are some gifts that you got for Christmas that you were most excited to get? And then he says, thoughts on the rumor that Favreau is eyeing Robert Downey Jr. for Thrawn Jr. You are cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard of that. I heard about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about him as a Thrawn, but then I guess that would be a totally different character. So yeah, if you told me Robert Downey, like Thrawn Jr., that's weird. If you told me that Robert, I have just not heard about this, so you're getting my immediate reaction. If it's a reaction,
maybe you'll have an evolution again. Maybe you'll completely change.
I'll turn around and be like, "Oh, this is a great idea." If you told me Downey was just playing Thrawn, I'd be like, "Well, that's not the right personality type at all." And I'm not saying that he doesn't have range, but he has a tendency to like to play the same kinds of, snarky, arrogant, narcissistic kinds of characters, and that's just not Thrawn. I think Thrawn is maybe a type of narcissist, but he's not like Downey. But if you're making up a new character, but then I guess it's just, well, he's got to be important because he's Downey, so we'll make him a Thrawn. If there already is a Thrawn Jr., I didn't know about that. So I don't know what that character is like, if it exists already. I suspect it doesn't. I suspect they're making that up. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I think it's weird if Downey leaves one big shared universe continuity thing just to jump onto another one, though, because it seemed like he wanted to really spread his wings and try some different things and maybe do some, well, I want to say maybe do some more low-key things, but then the very first thing he did was Doolittle, where he thought that was going to be huge, and then it wasn't. But I mean, like, that is clearly not a
Doolittle.
Small movie. Like, that's trying to be a giant, kids blockbuster. So I guess he still wants to make blockbusters. I don't know, but we'll see what it's like if he winds up in Star Wars. I don't know how the fans are gonna feel about that, having too many really big names. But also, Downey hasn't done a lot of TV stuff, so that would kind of surprise me. But then we're blurring the line so much, and when your streaming service Star Wars show is so much more popular than your billion-dollar movies were. Maybe somebody like Downey looks at that and goes, well, I mean, they clearly have money, so they'll still pay me even though it's a TV show. I just don't know how much they're going to pay an actor like that to be in a TV show. So, I don't know. It's a question.
So not to completely derail you, but he just put in another chat. He actually meant to just say Thrawn. He didn't mean to write Junior again.
Okay, hey Tom, could you proof your chats, please? Because I just spent 5 minutes discussing that in a very different way than I would have. Okay, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like Downey as Thrawn. I don't see that at all. Hopefully my mind is changed.
Yeah, you basically said that.
But I don't see that at all. Yep. Okay. DJ, what cool things did you get for Christmas? DJ, are you with me? We are once again losing DJ. Man, just batting 1,000 today with connection issues. Mutale, it must suck for Cap that Star Wars has a better show than Star Trek. I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, I wish Star Trek had better shows, of course. But I am loving Mandalorian, so I'm not sitting there going like, I'm so jealous of you, Mandalorian. How dare you be good when my Star Trek shows are bad? Like, I don't have that. But yes, it is really sad and weird that the same guy is somewhat responsible for tanking them both. DJ, I can't see you, man.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, but I can't see you.
Oh, great. Now my camera's not working?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with our connection there, man.
It's so weird. I mean, I don't know. Unless it's just something with Xfinity, because my computer is running fine. Okay, I'm going to jump to that one that I...
well, hold on. We got to finish that. So,
earlier.
Real quick. So, did you get any cool things for Christmas, DJ?
Oh, yes. I got that Avatar Complete Series Blu-ray Steelbook set up there. That's added to the list. Let me turn this down so you can't. It's kind of far away, but
yeah,
I got that, which was cool. I got Spider-Man Miles Morales. I got Mario Kart
Live.
Home. What's it called? Live. Yeah, Mario Kart Live, which I was playing around with, which is a lot of fun.
It's fun.
The two coolest things I got, I can't show you, they're in my closet, but my wife got me these really, really nice deluxe hardcover editions of 2 Tolkien books. They get like really beautiful hardcovers with the slip cases, and I would like the whole collection, but those things run like $100 a piece, so I think I'm gonna like get one a year for like the rest of my life, and maybe I'll finally get the collection someday. But those things are super rare, and that was really cool of her to get me a couple this Christmas. But yeah, I got some cool geeky stuff from people. What'd you get?
That's awesome, man. For me, the cool stuff was kind of more about big family presents and stuff we did for our kids than it was for anything I specifically got. I got these headphones for my wife. These are really good noise canceling headphones, so that's nice. I needed that.
Sorry, can you turn your camera on so I can see them? I didn't even notice.
Oh, I forgot that I wasn't sharing. Hold on.
Sorry, it's just not a big deal.
Weird,
but then you mentioned your headphones.
Weird
now
night.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, we got a couple of multicades, like Raspberry Pi units, for the family this year, and we hadn't intended on doing 2. This kind of all happened at once, or like I had so what I did was I bought a custom made, and I'll probably make videos about a video about this down the road, but I got a custom built arcade machine built into a coffee table, and it plays stuff going all the way back to like really early arcade and Atari, and really and then Super Nintendo and NES and Genesis, and by TurboGrafx, like pretty much everything console-wise, and most everything like MAME arcade up through like 96. Like it goes through the 64. It doesn't emulate 64 well because the 64 is notoriously hard to emulate. But everything else runs really, really well. And so it's like 20,000 games. It's preposterous, everything that's on it. And it looks really pretty on that screen. It's just a smart TV built into a coffee table with an arcade setup with buttons and stuff.
I'm sorry, dude. Something just happened. I have to run real quick. I'll be right back, though. Keep talking. Sorry.
And then I ended up getting the same system from the same guy. So I bought that way back in August, and I've been hanging on to it for my kids all this time. And then I've been sitting on a original Virtua Fighter arcade cabinet since last February. And long story short, I sunk kind of a lot of money into it trying to get it fixed, and was never able to get it totally working. And so finally, I decided that I couldn't spend any more money on it, and I decided not to try to get the board fixed. And so, I got a power supply for it finally. I was finally able to see if the board was working. It's got issues. I was going to need it to get fixed. Everything is Sega proprietary, and so it's really expensive and difficult to get fixed. And so I ended up deciding to convert that into an emulation cabinet too, and I had the same guy do that, and he came out last Monday and got that set up for me, and it's awesome. It's rocking. It's super fun. So anyway, that's the cool stuff that I did for Christmas. Kind of more things I did than stuff I personally got. But I got some got a little bit of geeky stuff here and there. But I don't know, a couple of figures and things. But anyway, let's go ahead and go back then to Super Chats, and hopefully DJ will be back in just a little bit. John Ty, $5 Super Chat. Another of John's philosophical questions. Do you want to live in a world where you will never feel pain, disappointment, and sadness so that you can always be happy? I feel like John's asked questions like this before. My response to this is always no, because as much as it sometimes sucks, pain is too much a part of the human condition. So I feel like I would not be living the full human experience if I didn't feel pain, and it wouldn't be worth just constant bliss. Like, I don't think that's really the point of living. To be like, overall, you want to live a happy life, but I don't think the point of life is figuring out how to never experience the negative emotions. Those are important too. Those give us perspective. I don't think you can improve yourself if you're always happy, and self-improvement is very important to me. Azim, $5 super chat. I'm looking forward to the next solo Superman film sometime this century, after the 17th cinematic Batman reboot, of course, and the Azrael spinoff. I guess we already talked about that, so sorry for reading that again, but that's hilarious. And yeah, once again, like I said earlier, it does suck that we still haven't seen a Superman movie in a long time that didn't feel kind of cynical and wasn't trying too hard to make Superman cool and didn't understand Superman's values. I still say that the Man of Tomorrow animated movie that just recently came out is what a live-action Superman film should be. I think they could have taken that script wholesale and just made exactly that into a live-action movie. Maybe with, I don't know, I was going to say maybe take Lobo out of it, but I even like the way Lobo's handled in that. I don't know. So if you've not seen that, check that out and see if you agree with me, especially if you've needed a good, serious Superman fix on screen. DJ, is everything all right?
I'm interested. Yeah, I had a minor emergency, but I'm good now. But I'm interested in that Superman movie. I think it's coming to HBO Max soon, so I'll definitely check it out.
I was wondering if they might start going day and date with those, like they flirted with on DC Universe. Do you remember that? Like for a while, they were putting those movies when they would come into video immediately on DC Universe. They did it like 3 or 4 times and then never again.
I never got into Universe. That seems like the way they should do those. I mean, now they're doing that with their live-action DC films. So.
Well, I just think more people are going to see them that way
on Max
because. I think so. They can't sell a whole lot of DVDs. Like I've mentioned this statistic before, but we know that we're selling like 10% of physical media that we were selling in the mid 2000s. A lot more people are going to see that stuff. Like the best they do is maybe like 100,000, and that's the really popular ones.
Yeah,
that's like what a good comic book sells.
That's so sad.
And comics is kind of niche these days, so you'd think that they would put those on a streaming service and more people could see them. So I don't know if they're putting those out. If they're doing it more like a theater model, where it's like they put that out, on like on demand digital, where you have to pay more, and then 2 or 3 months they put it on HBO Max. That makes sense. I hope they start doing that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You haven't done any other super chats, right?
I just did the one from Azim that we did already. It just sparked a thing about Superman, so I talked more about that one. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So John Ty wants to know, this is the one I alluded to earlier, what is good fan service and bad fan service? Is all fan service bad?
Oh, I totally missed that one. I'm really glad that you went backwards. I feel like I just answered this question on another show. Weird. You know what? I think what happened was maybe he popped into a video game stream and I answered that, and then he wanted me to also do it on the Captain Logan show. That must be why. I had deja vu for a second, and not Matrix deja vu. Like actually, it wasn't like there was a cat and then there was the same cat. It was like real deja vu, DJ. DJ Vu. DJ
Vu. That's my real name. So you've ruined my name.
So in my mind, good fan service is something that fans will get that a general audience might not, but that they don't have to, that is well integrated into a piece and doesn't bog it down and make it self-indulgent. So when you lean really heavily on fan service and the whole point of it is just, you recognize that? You've seen that before, right? Isn't that cool? That's when it's bad. It's when I notice it and not necessarily everybody else around me does, and it's again, well integrated, maybe subtly implanted, and and I'm talking about things that might be in the background of something, or even just like, a minor character that you're familiar with because of the original source material. Like if you're talking about something adapted from comics or a novel or something, you're like, I didn't expect to see that guy, and he's not really important, and he matters for the scene, but he's just kind of cameo, but like, it doesn't take anybody else out that he's there. Like that kind of thing can be really cool. Or when you repurpose something where it's like really cleverly reused. And again, if it's like you're initiating newcomers that aren't familiar with the source material. This will be the first way they've experienced this. So to them, that's just the like the normal way that it is. You know, sort of like when you do prequel reimaginings, where it's like, and like I'm using this as a positive example right now, I guess, but like there's some things like that with Lex Luthor in Smallville, where or things with like. Specifically Lionel. Let me go to that for a second. So Lionel is basically like comic book Lex Luthor, and then his kid is a reinvented version of Lex Luthor. So we had our cake and eat it too, and ate it too. We said Lex is going to actually be born from money and have a scary evil father who gives him everything, and he's born with a silver spoon. And fans might have looked at that initially, and until we watched it, because that was the one great thing about that show, and say, oh no, you changed Lex too much. He was supposed to like build himself from the ground up and you know build his own wealth. But we did the same thing that you usually do with Lex with Lionel. So like when we're told in season 2 that his parents died in a tenement fire, me as a fan, I'm like, that's really cool fan service, because you didn't do comic book Lex, but you gave his father his backstory. And it's not intrusive fan service, unlike a lot of fan service in that. Like whenever Clark will say something like, oh, there's an S on somebody's chest. I could never see myself going into battle wearing that. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Or I'm afraid, or I hate heights. Let's make him just the exact opposite of everything he'll be later. That show has, there's a paper in this. I mean, that show has equal parts, maybe. Nah, it's probably got more bad fan service than good fan service. But I was going to say, it has really good examples of both. But that kind of thing is really good fan service. It needs to not get in the way, and it needs to not be the point. But anyway, so that's my answer to that. Let's move on.
Are you Man or Superman?
Remember that?
I'll give 2 good examples real quick. The Planet of the Apes films and Bates Motel.
Yeah.
They have a lot of stuff in there for the fans if you love those original 60s movies. They're both great.
Neither of them requires you to know any material before that.
Exactly.
And you can, like, you have to be able to fall in love with it as an original piece.
I did. I watched Psycho because I saw Bates Motel, and that's one of my favorite movies now. And then I watched the original Planet of the Apes because I watched the new ones, and that's also one of my favorite movies. So it goes both ways. Yeah. Good prequels can get you into the original. That's what good prequels should do. John Ty, another one from John Ty.
Stand on their own and not be informed too much by what happens later, unless the whole point of it is you're supposed to watch it non-linear. But then that is for the fans of it in the first place, and needs to make it really clear that other people have prerequisites they should watch first, and the Star Wars prequels are absolutely that way.
Yeah, exactly. There's another one from John Ty, which I can answer by just sending him to watch a movie. Do you want to live in a world? He says, do you want to live in a world where you will never feel pain, disappointment, and sadness?
I already answered that one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I sure did. What's your movie?
Inside Out. That's what Inside Out's about.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, sure. But no. I told you the last one I tackled was that Azim question, which we've done already. So we got to go after that.
Okay. I gotcha. And then so TH1, he says, about a year ago on a Batman themed show, I asked a question. Now it's for the opposite follow-up question. What Superman characters are your friends most like?
Oh.
So I guess he asked that about Batman. Superman. What friends? You gotta be. I mean, I guess he's like, I don't know what friends.
He probably just means people that work on the
on-screen
friends, or people that people we've had.
Oh, okay.
Here on the I guess I think that's what it was last time when he asked us to do that.
Oh, okay. So like Dan, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really saddle them with a lot of the Superman character archetypes. I'm like, is anybody I know really like a Lois Lane, or like a Jimmy Olsen, or like a Mon Pa Kent?
I hope you come up with someone on the channel that's like Pa Kent.
Yeah. My buddy is just like Jonathan Kent. I mean, yeah, I know Salt of the Earth people, but like, yeah, I guess I mean, I can think of a friend that I have that you guys don't know that's that maybe is a little bit like Jonathan Kent in his values and stuff. But like, you know, can you think of anybody like Eric or Vince or Dan like in Superman lore is a lot like?
I mean, I don't even know enough about Superman
Is Eric Karachi enough yet? Is he to be like Perry White? Like, is that Eric? Is Eric Perry White?
I think he's on the way. I think come back in a couple decades.
That's hilarious. But it's like, I don't know, who's Dan? Like, not really like Pete Ross, I wouldn't think.
Any lawyers in? Does Superman have any lawyer acquaintances?
Yeah. I don't think Stussy says Dan is Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, but I didn't quite see that. I don't know. I guess the answer is the archetypes don't line up great. I'm not thinking of anybody that just like perfectly encapsulates any of my friends. But thanks a lot for the super chat. Let's go ahead and move on. We've got a bunch more stuff to tackle.
Josh Galisano, we are pushing for R-rated Batman animated stuff, but there isn't a single animated Batman for families.
Yeah.
I want adult stuff, but I also want something to show to my siblings. I hope to find a balance.
I totally agree with that. We have had a real problem with variety lately, and Batman being one of, if not the most versatile superhero characters and popular characters in media, there's no reason not to have that. And Spider-Man has, for good or bad. I mean, the animated stuff for kids with Spider-Man lately, what little I dabbled in with those I didn't like, but at least we were trying. At least we kind of had both. You know, although there's not any, like, as far as extra media goes, Spider-Man stuff that's totally rated R and just for kids, I guess you could make, or just for adults, I guess you could make the argument that Spider-Man's one of those things that, except for certain places in comics, we've actually kind of kept more or less pretty for families and kind of wholesome. And Batman, because he is supposed to be a dark, brooding character, we've just dialed up to 11 in the rated R place, and I like some of that stuff. I'm with you. It should be like that. But yeah, there's no reason that you can't have both at the same time, especially when the culture at large seems to have embraced campier Batman in a way that I never thought that it would. A few years ago, when we brought back Adam West Batman, put it on DVD and stuff, it was really celebrated, and the comic series did pretty well. And those animated movies were really well liked, and I think folks that didn't even watch the '60s show, a lot of people watched those and recognized the merit in them, and started to see, oh, there is something maybe to this campy thing, or at least it was fun seeing something deconstructing Batman from that lens, because that first one, Return of the Caped Crusaders, is about the entire history of Batman through the lens of '60s Batman, and is dealing with the rough and tumble, brutal Batman, the Frank Miller of it all, at the same time as it's dealing with Adam West and everything else in between. So yeah, I need more stuff like that. Like, we've got Lego Batman, and that's about it, and that's unfortunate. Now, on the other hand, when you say I want something to show, kids in my family, there is still plenty of older material, and a lot of it still holds up, right? Like, if you show a kid right now Batman Animated Series, I doubt an 8 or 9-year-old is going to watch that show and go, I mean, that's great, Dad, but it's 30 years old, and I need something that's got, like, people with smartphones and tablets and playing Among Us. Like, I don't know. The nice thing about Batman is, there's just not enough Fortnite in my Batman. The nice thing about Batman is that, generally speaking, it's supposed to be in a time that you can't peg, right? It's a timeless kind of thing. It always looks kind of noirish, especially something like Batman the Animated Series is set in sort of a faux 1940s, but with some modern technology, so it has its cake and eats it too, and that makes a lot of that stuff a lot more age a lot better, a lot more timeless. And so at least I'm with you. I wish there was something currently on as well for that, but at least there's a good backlog of stuff that holds up pretty well. Batman Animated Series, Brave and the Bold, I think, if that's your bag, holds up fine. And even The Batman, which I have really come around on, I think would probably appeal to kids now in a very similar way that it did to the kids in 04, 05 when that was coming out.
Still the only Batman show I've seen. I know, guys.
Well,
I'm the worst.
I have to work on that. And you even got the Blu-ray box set for the Bruce Timm stuff, and you still haven't watched it.
What? I don't have the Blu-ray.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you had the box set for that.
No, I don't have that. I think.
Why did I think that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's weird. I thought one day you showed that on camera. You're like, okay, I finally have to watch it because I have it, guys. Was it somebody else? Was it not you? I thought it was you. Okay.
Maybe it was a Cyborg. DJ.
Well, you had.
Maybe that was...
Maybe it was the Steel version of you. Maybe it was the Eradicator version of DJ. DJ, you have HBO Max now, so there's no excuse.
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
I'll do some of it with you. We'll have a marathon one day. I'll show you 2 or 3
Philip
hours
Kelton,
of the best
my
episodes
goodness,
of that show.
Gives us a... Yeah, give me a list. Give me a list that I can go through.
No, I'll watch it with you. We'll just have a marathon one day. You and I'll just sit down for 2 or 3 hours. We'll watch it together.
All right, sounds good. That'll be the next 24-hour stream. Cap shows DJ a show that everyone in the world has seen, except for him.
No, we don't even have to. We don't have to broadcast it. We can just do it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm contractually obligated not to do anything with you unless we record it.
Oh, okay. Oh, speaking of that, I'm surprised it hasn't come up with the chat yet. We should probably talk about the sad Netflix news, yeah?
Oh, it has come up, actually. A lot of people have been asking us about it. I just didn't bring it up.
Then we should probably go ahead and tackle that. So Power Rangers, by and large, is leaving Netflix in February. And that's because the contract with Hasbro is up. And as far as we can tell, they're not renewing it. Now, everything I've read says that there's every possibility that at the 11th hour, they'll turn around and renew it. But I kind of doubt that's going to happen since it's already on leaving Netflix lists. It may be that Hasbro didn't like the contract that Saban had with Netflix before they bought them out. And the reason it stayed there all this time is because when you buy out a company, you can't just leave Netflix outside of contracts. It overlapped and went all the way up until now. And they've continued to renew, and they've had a contract going all the way back, I think, to like 2016 at least. For all of Power Rangers. And so the big question is, do they plan on putting it somewhere else? There's been some talk that maybe they'll put it on like Shout Factory streaming service, but that would be weird because that service is free, and I would think if they didn't like the if they didn't like the contract they have with Netflix, then the problem is probably money, and they're like, we could make more with this, so they're not going to put it there. My bet is someplace like Hulu, or they go off and do their own like everybody else is doing, and they're like, well, we're gonna have the Hasbro like Transformers Power Rangers streaming service. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Hasbro Plus.
Stop putting plus on everything.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
But
it kind of makes sense for if Peacock did it, I would be kind of okay with it because they have like a free version and then a no ads version, but they're calling it premium, so they're not even doing the plus. So there's no consistency.
It's always weird when you say plus because it's like, well, you own all that stuff anyway, so how's it plus? It only makes sense if it's plus if you buy something from someone else that's not you, and then from some other company, and then add that in too, where it's like, well, you get everything from Paramount and also Power Rangers. And then we can put plus on it. But anyway, so at first I thought everything was leaving DJ, and it turns out that these contracts are weird. For whatever reason, Netflix is able to hang on to 3 things right now. They're getting Mighty Morphin, but not Alien Rangers, which, of course, as you know, drives me absolutely insane because Alien Rangers is not its own thing. It is the end of season 3, so they're gonna have 2.5 seasons of Mighty Morphin and pretend.
What a horrible ending! If you just watch those 3 seasons,
you just turn into kids and then you get nothing else. And then they're gonna have the last, I believe, the last couple of seasons. I forget. 2 of the Neo Saban seasons are in there, and I think one of them is the current show. I'm not sure, but that's all you're gonna get. So, I have gone ahead and for my kids ordered most of the stuff we didn't have already, just in case they don't immediately go somewhere else, because my kids watch Power Rangers quite a bit. So my wife and I decided to go ahead and do that because we were a little bit worried that all the Power Rangers fans would go to Amazon and buy up everything. And right now, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this on air, right now the seasons are pretty cheap if you can get your hands on them. Most everything is $10 to $15. Mighty Morphin as a 3-season box set is closer to $80, but it's a lot more episodes than most of those seasons, so that makes sense. But anyway, I already had about half of, well, no, less than that. I had like Space. I don't actually own Mighty Morphin right now because it's been streaming forever. I haven't felt the need to get it. But I found some seasons really cheap a few years ago at a Big Lots, and since I'm a collector, I just went ahead and bought them. I'm glad I did. I was like, I'm never going to need these, and then now I'm maybe going to need these. But DJ, I have like Space up through Wild Force, so I went ahead and bought the rest of everything else up to Neo Saban, which was not inordinately expensive, luckily. But I didn't go ahead and buy Mighty Morphin again, or yet, because that is still going to be streaming. But I had to buy Space by itself.
Oh no.
It was $6.
Okay. So yeah, I've been holding out. I get the box sets.
Yeah.
That you can see up there. So I have 1 through 3, including Aliens, and then I have 4 through 7 through Lost Galaxy. I haven't got the 8 through 12 box set yet because it's like $140 on Amazon.
Yeah, it's really hard to
So
get.
I might have to either settle for the individuals like you did, or just bite the bullet and buy that big box set. But I really like
a
those.
lot nicer than mine. But mine are cheaper, so I'm getting them that way.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have to do that too, because $140 is crazy. Even though it has Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, and Time Force, that's like the good stuff. That's the Disney era.
You can get all of those individually, like combined. That'll cost you like $35.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely the way.
Stephen Murphy says Alien Rangers is billed as a separate miniseries on Wikipedia. Yeah, but it's wrong, though. It's incorrect. That's not how that should be billed. It's only like that because that's how they released it later on. It was never thought of that way until it came to home video. It's preposterous. And I don't like it. One thing.
Well, it's not consistent because the DVDs that I have, that set, it's just on the season 3 DVD.
Well, that's more fuel for my fire then, and that's the first one that came out, I think.
Yeah, that's the original. There's a different one with different box art now. That was the first one. And my cat knocked it off the top and bent the corner, and I'm really mad at my stupid cat for doing that.
There is a $200 steelbook that came out last year.
Oh yes,
is gorgeous.
I'm looking at that right now.
But I'm not going to pay $200 for that. That seems excessive.
And I think that has the only way you can get the Blu-ray of the first movie, which is super unnecessary and probably makes it look even worse. But that's awesome.
I'll tell you what I don't want to see in. I know you said Blu-ray. I'll tell you what I don't want to see in 4K. That third act with that Megazord. Oh God, you don't want to see that. But real quick, one thing I would say to Power Rangers fans that are going to be really bummed out about this, especially if you don't already own the series that you like on disc, is now would then be a really good time if you haven't, and I haven't with much, if you haven't done it, to go back to the Shout Factory streaming service and watch the Sentais of your favorite shows, because that is free and you can watch those, and most of them are better than Power Rangers. So, while we're waiting for this to go to some other streaming service, and I think Hasbro would be crazy not to very soon put it on another service, go watch Sentai. Like, now's the best possible time to do that, and they've got those up through at least Dino Thunder.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Me and you need to do that. What's wrong with us?
Yeah, well, and some folks in the comments are asking about or mentioning Morphomania. We've been taking a hiatus on that just because we haven't had time to shoot it. We need to get back to that at some point. But it kind of sucks that this just happened, because that's going to make that an even harder sell for people. Because it's pretty niche, and we don't have a big audience for that, but we love doing it. But now people can't even stream it with us streaming, so
I know.
We may wait to bring much more of that back until it's on a streaming service. I don't know yet. We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. TBD, guys. But anyway, what I was about to say...
Let me read this real quick. Since Paramount is making the new movie, Power Rangers could go to CBS Paramount. That's a good... Oh, man! Power Rangers could wind up on CBS All Access. That's a really good point. DJ, can you hear me? DJ.
I could hear you got a little bit upset about something, but you cut out, so I didn't know it.
Power Rangers could go to CBS All Access. That is
a
really good point. Yeah, and I realize that service is getting rebranded, and it will have more stuff, and it will be a better service, but it will be one more thing that people have to get. And if they up that from $6, I want to say I'm out. Like, if they get Power Rangers, I'm probably not. But like,
ugh, that's terrible. I've been like the guy who's getting too many streaming services, and I haven't even dabbled into that one yet.
Well, there's not much on it for you, really. Although I will say the Console Wars documentary is there. It's very strange it went there, and it's really good. I finally watched it yesterday, and I recorded a review for that, and that'll come out later in the week. So look forward to that.
Oh, cool.
DJ, are there any decent pre-written questions? Because I don't want to shaft that.
I'm sure there are. Let me do this.
It looks like we've got another maybe 10 or so super chats.
This is from Blue Dragon 5. This is the first one he gave us tonight.
Wait, Stussy. They have Ninja Turtles 2003 where? On All Access? Do they?
Are you serious? Wow.
Do they really? I'm going to look this up right now because that has not been available anywhere. And we were watching like
that show is impossible to get on DVD.
It's impossible to get. Yeah, my family and I a couple years ago were watching it on YouTube. Just somebody was uploading like not great transfers, and and then I fell off of it.
Dabbled in that too. I got to show that to my son. He needs to be a little older, but yeah, I love that show. It's so good. But impossible to find, so that's interesting. Did you find it?
No, my phone is frozen up on me. Go ahead and throw out another question, and I'll look this up.
This show, man, we're trudging uphill in some snow.
I blame All Access, though. It's a bad app.
Well, I don't want to...
it's not giving me enough access.
You can answer this. This is only for you. This is from Blue Dragon 5. If you hosted a talk show, what would your first week's lineup of guests to interview be?
Oh man, it is here.
What? All 7 seasons?
Let's find out. Yes, all 7 seasons. Look at that.
I know people don't want to include Fast Forward and Back to the Sewers, but they're technically the same show. It's just bad. but yeah, that's awesome.
Nope, Fast Forward is here.
That's
Future
crazy.
Shell Shock. Oh man, that's exciting. That gives me an outlet to finally watch that and do a spoiler cast or something on it. Which I've always kind of wanted to do. That's exciting.
Yeah, I always wanted to talk about that show. I had some episodes on DVD as a kid that I've seen a million times. The Underground Monster, where they turn into monsters. Have you seen that? It's kind of like a creepy episode.
Yes.
It's like 3 episodes, but
I think I have seen that. Yeah, it's weird. But it's been a while. So Dragon,
but yeah, I have watched through the whole show.
So Dragon, have you seen any more of Dark, Cap? I haven't seen any of Dark. I started it one day and then I had to go deal with a kid and then I forgot all about it. So I saw a minute and a half of Dark. I'm gonna have to actually watch that. He also asked, wait, is that the same person? Solar Dragon, have you watched The Expanse? I watched the pilot for The Expanse and loved it. I mean, it's a very depressing, slitty kind of show, but I was really impressed with it and I need to watch more of it. But I have not gotten to that either. I'm trying to carve more time out to watch things from the last few years that I've been wanting to review or that folks have asked me about, and so I'm working on that slowly but surely. I got Transformers watched over the weekend and got that reviewed, so I'm doing okay. I'm getting some stuff reviewed. Anyway, go ahead, DJ. Let's get. So were we gonna do a pre-written question?
It was the Blue Dragon 5 one about what guests would you have on your first week's lineup. If you were a talk show host.
Wow.
Tough.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. There's the first person I would say is Peter Serafinowicz.
Ah.
That's the first person that comes to mind. I mean, really, just the whole cast of the whole cast of that show. It'd be great to sit down and talk to. But certainly, at one time I really wanted to interview Patrick Stewart, of course, and now I feel very funky about that show and what he ended up doing with that, and now I'm not sure if I would actually want to do that. Todd McFarlane would be in my first. Absolutely, McFarlane would be there. DJ, are you with us? I think we've lost DJ again. Let me see if I can get him back. DJ, can you hear me?
No, sorry, I can't. You're cutting out for me, but yeah, I'm here.
You just froze up entirely for about 15 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was like it's like you're in a time vortex where occasionally time stops for you, but not for any of the rest of us. No, I was gonna say McFarlane is on that list.
Yeah, I did hear that part. That's
Ooh.
a crazy line. Peter Serafinowicz.
No, I've got it.
And maybe Picard.
Are you ready? But not Patrick Stewart, just Picard. For show. Are you ready? This is perfect. I don't think I could do any better than this. The first episode of that show is only a 2-interview lineup. It's an hour show. I spent half an hour with each of them. The first guy is Seth MacFarlane, and the second guy is Todd McFarlane.
Yes, that's great. The McFarlane Hour.
That's what I would do.
That's really funny.
Very different conversations.
Yeah.
Because one of them would be like, oh my god, you saved Star Trek without even making Star Trek. And the other guy would be, you ruined 2 years of my life. But also your art is amazing and you're my favorite artist. That's what that would be. Actually, I could spin it to where they would be somewhat similar conversations. Where the first guy I would be like, I hate one of your TV shows, but the other one is the best Star Trek show that wasn't Star Trek. And then the other guy would be like, you inspired me so much with your art. It's the best art ever. You're the worst writer I've ever read.
Oh, that'd be really weird. Maybe lead with the art, yeah, and then go into the other stuff, because then he'll just leave.
So this would be the name of my talk show. Are you ready? My talk show is called How I Felt About. And when I bring in a guest, I go, here's how I feel about you. Here's my best thing about you, my worst thing about you, and here's my side flip.
Todd McFarlane is getting red.
Todd McFarlane's getting red, and Seth MacFarlane gets a marginal green. That's horrible.
Your show would tank. It would not last. I don't know. Maybe it's the thing we need right now.
Maybe it is. Yeah. No, it'd be like, oh, that is hard hitting. He just tells it like it is. But like, who would come on it? It's like, am I there for an interview or to be reviewed?
Who reviews the talk show guests?
Okay, let's go ahead and get back to the super chat show.
All right, I've been trying to
get
to Philip Kelton's super chat forever because he gave us a $50 super chat.
Oh my goodness!
Super pumped. Yeah, Philip Kelton, thank you so much. I don't know if you're male or female. Your profile is a cat. I'm assuming you're male. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So hang on. So he or somebody else actually did this on Batmosphere recently, and I want to say, of course, thanks so much for the super chat. And I don't want to like diminish the super chat, but the reason that looks bigger than it is because that's in Mexican pesos.
Oh, I see. MX. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, I don't know what it is then. I don't know how much
it's not important how much it is, but I just want to mention to you because I freaked out about it the first time too. But that's in Mexican pesos, though.
That's awesome. Well, that's the first. Well, you've seen it already, but that's the first time I've seen that. I've seen pounds.
No, I had to look it up later. I didn't know what it meant. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, man. Either way, it doesn't matter. We like your question. Why do you want to turn the film industry, into the comic book industry? Let superheroes die before they saturate another media.
Oh, man.
Jeez, calling you out. He's flipping your sign red, sir.
Why do you want to turn the film industry into the comic book industry? Let superheroes die before they saturate other media. No, I just want some balance. Here's the thing. I am really super critical of the superhero film industry, guys. And always have been. Superheroes are a passion of mine. Superhero movies are interesting to me because they're as hit and miss as they are. Most superhero movies are not good. I have a lot more 0s to 2s than I have 2.5s to 4s on Superhero Rewind, certainly. And that hasn't changed. The good superhero movies are better than they ever used to be, certainly. I support this as a thing because I am passionate about these characters and I think that you can tell really great stories with them, and because I want to bring some of those stories and some of those characters to a mass audience that isn't going to read comics. Like, it's another avenue for those things. I didn't want it to take over. I didn't want it to be the bread and butter, certainly. I mean, it's maybe good for me as a superhero movie reviewer because it so far hasn't shown a lot of signs of stopping, and I didn't expect when I started this that it would become like you know, half or more of Hollywood's take, or it feels like 75%. So like, I fully understand how it might look like, well, that's really good for business for Cap, you know, like it has not only stayed relevant, but it's become like the big blockbuster thing with superhero movies. But no, it has definitely held us back. It certainly has been a problem. This is why I have suggested that it might be in some ways a good thing for most things to not go to movie theaters now, because I think we're going to get more variety. I think we're going to get smarter movies. I think we're not going to try to make everything accessible. But superhero movies didn't have to be that way. It's just that it got too popular. This happens with anything that gets too popular. It gets watered down. It becomes for everybody, and it gets too safe, and we don't just make things for people who might like them. We try to rope in everybody, and we make a lot of things that end up being for no one. So like, I continue to watch these things and talk about them, but a lot of people have complained about this. Like, you've seen my enthusiasm for the MCU wane quite a bit in the last couple of years. Like, I still think that it's in better shape overall than the DCEU is, but I also applauded the DCEU there for a minute when it looked like we were getting away from that as a shared universe to just making movies, and they were making some individual things that were maybe taking some risks and seemed really interesting. I was applauding Fox before it got bought out by Disney for making X-Men movies that weren't necessarily for everybody, that didn't have to be for kids, putting out some things that were, some things for families, some things that weren't for families. I thought it was really cool that they were bold enough to make Logan the way they made that, and that's just a real movie, and you don't have to, know Wolverine or like comics or anything to appreciate that. I've tried to call it like I've seen it throughout all of this. I have never ever said, "Yay, superheroes have taken over and it's gotten as watered down for the masses as it has." I don't think I'm as I don't know if cynical is the right word. I don't think it is. I don't think it sucks for me as much as it does for somebody like Eric. I think Eric is more upset about this whole thing than I am. I think there's less things for him than there are for me. Some of that just turns into a taste issue. But yeah, I see why you might say that. But no, and I make fun of this all the time. We're putting too many of these things out at once, and not enough of them are to a high enough standard of quality, and it is keeping other smart things and a variety of things from being made that would otherwise get made and go to a movie theater. And now, obviously, it's a big question mark as to what ends up happening with theaters and how that affects superhero movies, how that affects movies in general moving on. But yeah, I don't agree with the premise of that. No, I did not necessarily want that. I'm just commenting on it as it's happening. And there is a part of me, certainly, that's like, oh, cool, these certain characters that I never thought could be in a movie got a movie. Of course that's exciting for me. But you can have that and also good romantic comedies. Where did those go? Those are kind of gone, and you can have good action movies that like 80s type action movies that aren't about guys in costumes and have the same 3-act boring structure that we've done a million billion times with all of these movies. So yeah, I mean, some of these things have been really great, but it has been kind of detrimental for cinema overall. I don't deny that at all. You're muted.
At least it was me and not the computer. Philip Kelton, thanks for the good question. And we have another one. The next one is also for him. The only way to make a Batman Beyond, this is from earlier, without Terry McGinnis and a female protagonist would be to use Carrie Kelly.
But I don't even agree with that. I mean, if you did that, at least it's like, well, Carrie Kelly's not usually a superhero in her own right. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. It makes sense that Batman would be mentoring her and she wouldn't just get her own thing. Whereas with Barbara Gordon, she doesn't have to be a sidekick character first. You could give her her own movie right away. That's part of why that's weird. She is an establishment in her own right. Certainly, Carrie Kelly's not. But you still can't call it Batman Beyond. It's a girl. Like as soon as you start having to tweak that title where it's like, Batgirl be on? Well, you haven't had a Batgirl yet, or it's like, or you do that weird Riri Williams Iron Man thing where you call it Batman, but it's not Batman. It's just a female protagonist in the role. Why would you do that? So no, I don't even think doing it with Carrie Kelly makes sense. But I think you could tell that story. I think you could do a Batman Beyond and then later have her take over in that mantle and just call it something else. You could do that. You couldn't start with it though, I don't think. To what I was talking about earlier, somebody suggested that we do get smart stuff on television. Yes, that's true, and there are certainly some like more nuanced, not necessarily for everybody, taking risks dramas that are just films that go to streaming in the first place. But it's still maybe a little bit more few and far between than it should be. I'm talking about like, you know, short form movies, hour and a half, 2 hour, get in and get out. Like I don't want everything that is. I don't want all the variety to be in things that require a 8 to 10 to 50 hour commitment. Anyway.
No, that's very true. I mean, I want short stuff. I want 8 episode things or like anthology stuff. Like that's what I need. I don't have time to. I can't commit to the huge things that I used to be able to.
Is it getting to the Roger, we're because we have so many miniseries now, and it's nice that we're doing as much of that as we are at this point. Though not everything has to be a 20 episode season. But is it starting to feel like the movie is the new short film?
Seriously. And movies are all 2.5 hours, which is ridiculous. Looking at you, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Roger, I should have said that when we were talking about Apple TV. All of those shows that I mentioned were all like 10 episodes, so they were all obviously they're streaming length episode shows. Roger Lee, Cap, have you had a chance to watch season 3 of The Greatest Show on the Planet, Cobra Kai?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. Were you asking if I've watched that? The new
season? Yeah, have you had a chance to watch? He says it's the greatest show on the planet, and he wants to know
don't tell me anything because I don't know how people are even feeling about season 3. I adore that show. I think it's spectacular. I think it's one of the best things on, at least of the few things that I've watched. When we lost the tick, I said, well, at least I've still got Cobra Kai. I have not started the next season yet because I'm waiting for Jason to do his rewatch. It's been long. So Jason and I watched those first 2 seasons together. I had already seen them both, and then I showed them to Jason, and he also fell in love with that show. DJ, he got a Cobra Kai headband for Christmas.
Awesome.
So he's probably going to wear that the whole time we watch that show. But he felt like he couldn't remember enough of what happened in the second season, so he wanted to rewatch, in the first 2. So he wanted to rewatch those before we started it, and he's already gone through the first. So as soon as he's done, we'll watch 3. And I've not decided how I'm reviewing it yet. DJ, are you watching that? Have you started it yet?
I think I would be in the same boat and not remember much about the first 2 seasons. I don't know. I think I can maybe get through it with like a previously on Lost situation. But no, I have not started season 3 yet. I know it's a Netflix original now. I don't know how I feel about it. I think that the very end of season 2 kind of got a little too absurd for me. But it
was a little absurd, but it won me over. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll probably give it. I definitely will give it a chance and give it a watch. But yeah, it's gonna have to do a little bit to get me back into it. But
that fight at the school is insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And then it goes flying off the stairs. Like I was like,
so
what? I was like, what are we doing here? Where did we go? Remember episode 1 of the show? But yeah.
Well, you gotta have some escalation. You know, that's called rising action.
I know, and I'm probably in the minority on that, but I'm definitely going to give season 3 a chance. Me and my wife are going to watch that together.
I've heard other people criticize that as well. Let me know. Well, I'll let you know when I start watching it, and we'll see if we can sync that up or where you're at. Because I haven't decided how I'm going to review it yet. I'm either going to try to do a review with DJ if he's open to it, or a father and son with Jason, or possibly the 3 of us. I think that could be cool.
That'd be fun, yeah. But yeah, I need to get back to that. I haven't even had time to think about it. I've been in Apple TV Plus mode. but yeah, I'll definitely give it a chance. I forgot what I was going to say. I was just going to say something. Dang it. Oh well. Something about that show.
DJ, I'm sorry you cut out on me again.
What's next? TH1. Oh no, I was just saying I'm gonna give it a chance, and I'll let you know when I get it.
No, I got you. You were about to read a question, and then you completely froze. So, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just said TH1 is the next one. It's what someone needs to do is buy stakes in every company and become the cable of streaming, like pay one price for access to multiple streaming services.
Yeah, but how would you convince all of those companies that that is somehow going to make them more money than going on their own? That's kind of what Hulu was, right? Like that fell apart. It didn't work because ultimately all of the individual companies said, well, if we make enough stuff and we've got our back catalogs, especially companies that were already a TV network. Well, we've got like a CBS or an ABC or something. Well, we've got decades of all these old shows, so like we can at least rope in old people so they can watch Matlock, and then hopefully make enough new stuff that we can rope a bunch of other people in. And if that works out, then they're definitely going to make more money than they would having to work with a middleman. And that's why it's So the only way the middleman thing works is with companies that have streaming services that ultimately fail. So you're never going to see that with Disney. Like, why would Disney work with a network like that? Clearly Disney Plus is doing well enough that they don't even feel the need to put their originals on traditional media at all. Like, when they don't make a box set for Mandalorian, they're never going to work with a cable provider.
Yeah, or the streaming equivalent of that. Yeah, I don't know how that would ever work. Obviously that'd be ideal for the consumers, but I don't know. That's a lot of red tape and rights that have to be consolidated. That'd be crazy. 5590 ERS. What are your thoughts on V for Vendetta book and movie?
Well, thanks for the super chat. I'm sorry I don't have a lot to comment on. I've never read it, and I should do that at some point. And for whatever reason, I've only ever seen like half the movie. I never actually sat down and finished it. I have meant to do a rewind on that forever, and I think there's a request for that, so I will try to do that in the not too distant future. It's on the short list. And I would like to read that book before I do that movie, but I like what I saw of it, and that was one of the better Natalie Portman performances from what I was remembering. But it's been years and I never finished it, so I can't comment too much on that. But it seemed like a really interesting meditation on anarchy.
Yeah, I really liked that movie. I was like 22 or something when I saw it, so I don't know if I'd still like it, but as one that I wanted to show to my wife this year on November 5th, but I didn't get around to it, but that would have been cool. Because she's never seen it. TH1. Nope, already talked about Thrawn. 5590 ERS again. Which superhero has the worst rogues gallery in your opinion?
Oh, interesting. The worst rogues gallery. Let me think for a minute. Does anybody spring to mind for you, DJ?
No.
Because I'm just thinking of characters that I've never gotten into real hard. So, like,
yeah,
characters that probably have great rogues galleries if you're into them. Like, I don't think a lot about Hulk's rogues gallery, but, like, there's people that love, the leader and stuff. Like, I can't call it the worst. I just haven't experienced it. Same thing with Iron Man. Like, I haven't experienced that rogues gallery that much.
Yeah, I don't know how we should answer the question, because I'm sure you could pick, like, obscure characters that have terrible ones, but maybe he just means, like, of the main, like, big ones that you think of, who has the worst?
Is it maybe Wonder Woman?
I couldn't tell you any, but I don't know anything about Wonder Woman, so that's on me.
Because the thing with Wonder Woman is that's a character that gets reinvented so often that her rogues get reinvented a lot too, and I don't have like a definitive like image of any of those characters. Like Cheetah is a bunch of different characters, and even Ares like not always the same. I don't know. And also that's one of those characters that's not defined very much by her rogues gallery. I guess that, in my mind, would be the answer, right? Like it would be whatever hero that you most felt like existed almost exactly the same way without their rogues gallery. Like your rogues should define your hero in some way. Clearly Spider-Man has that. Clearly Batman has that. I've not read a ton of Wonder Woman, so if I read the right runs, I might change my tune on this. But with what little I know right now, I feel like Wonder Woman is about the same regardless of who she's fighting. And that maybe makes her rogues not as interesting as some other rogues.
I'll just give some people in the comments. People are saying Ant-Man. Jedi Knight says Black Widow and Hawkeye. Do they even have rogues?
Well, that's the thing, is if you don't have a rogues gallery, you can't have the worst rogues gallery. Fantastic Four, somebody says, has one of the worst rogues. What are you talking about? Doctor Doom is great. Fantastic Four has an interesting guy. And, of course, I'm a huge Galactus guy, yeah.
Puppet Master. Skrulls. Super Skrull.
But anyway.
But yeah, that's a fun question. From David22, when is Geekvolution Plus coming, Captain Logan?
Well, you're already subscribed to it if you're a patron. Congratulations.
That's what we're gonna call the Patreon.
Oh. you get the one extra show we make twice a month and some things early.
Yeah. That's a streaming service people will pay for.
Although if we call it Geekvolution Plus, we need to put some things on there that have nothing. Well, we already have that. After Dark is basically a not all that much Geekvolution show sometimes, because it's not always geeky. So yeah, especially that title actually would work for our Patreon.
Yeah. And then David22 gives us another one. Says, how long, Cap, till Geekvolution in space?
Well, we need a budget.
Is he talking about Power Rangers at this point? I can't remember. I don't know when he asked this. 942.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's when we've really run out of ideas. Basically, when we get to the point where nobody cares about superheroes at all anymore, we just have to start flipping to other things. And I mean, look, we're Geekvolution. We don't just talk about superheroes. We talk about all kinds of other stuff. So I guess you could argue we already have that. Like, we already have Geekvolution in space whenever we ever talk about Star Trek or whatever. But
well, that's been almost since the beginning. So I guess we've always had that. And then the last one from TH1 is, does Disney own their season's streaming rights? Disney Plus, maybe. Great show tonight. Sorry, I'm watching the new episode of This Is Us at the same time. Well, maybe that's why I don't understand your question.
Yeah, apology accepted, I guess, Tom. I don't know. It's fine, man. Your prerogative, buddy. Thanks for having us on in the background.
Good to be your second choive.
Do they own their own season streaming rights? Yeah, if they haven't farmed them out to anybody else, as far as I understand it. I'm not an expert in this. I've not done a lot of research, so I'm not the guy to ask. I could be completely wrong about this. But I would imagine that unless you've sold the actual streaming rights to another company, you would have them by definition of the fact that you never sold them, and you do contracts with other streaming services to allow them to show your stuff until you get it back. So like all those contracts are temporary unless Disney was crazy enough to sign one that wasn't temporary. As soon as one of them ends and they get it back, all they have to do is never farm it out to anybody else again. As far as I understand. Jedi Knight says he doesn't think they do. I mean, I don't know. This is not a thing I've looked into. So that's my guess, but I could be completely off base about that. And I would think if they didn't, it would be different for different things.
Yeah, that'd be really weird if they were selling the rights, because they're doing everything they can to get all the rights, their stuff back, so they can put it on the streaming service. That's not original.
Yeah. Well, that's just such a blanket statement. Like, do they own they have a streaming service and they're streaming things. So if they don't own all the rights to their own stuff, how could they do that? So
yeah, I
don't know. This is not a thing that I have looked a great deal into. Okay, well, we are at 2 hours, so I think that is going to do it for us this evening. Was that all the super chats?
That was the last one.
All right, DJ. Well, thanks a bunch. Blue Dragon 5, illegal minute with Cap. Illegal minute with Cap is basically Cap going, I don't understand the law. Especially if we deal with copyright law. I really don't understand that.
Oh, okay. TH1 just sent another super chat. I think he's talking about the Power Rangers seasons, the Disney Power Rangers seasons. No, I don't think they own the rights to those anymore. I think they.
No, they should. Tom, you got to be more specific, man. You just said, do they own the rights to their seasons? You didn't say what we were talking about, man. No, I don't. Well, I don't think they even they don't own their seasons. Like.
Yeah, that was just like they made it, and I'm sure that was part of the deal when they sold it to Hasbro. That would be crazy though if just those seasons showed up on Disney Plus.
Well, no, I mean they sold the stuff back to Saban way before Hasbro ever got a hold of it, and that was before any of the stuff was streaming. Yeah. Like Disney hasn't been involved with Power Rangers in forever.
Yeah, there's no way that they would have thought that far ahead to have streaming rights back then. That was like 2007 when they, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I mean, maybe. And I also think that streaming rights are probably gummed up with home video rights in the first place. Like, that's probably all intertwined in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Anyway, well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. There's one more from John Ty real quick. $5 super chat. Let's do this real quick. Guys, no more super chats, okay? Because we're ending the show here.
We're in the closer.
Is niche entertainment better than popular entertainment nowadays? John, why don't we tackle that at the beginning of the next show? Would you just file that away?
I'll write it down
because I can't keep the show going ad nauseum because new super chats are coming out. We sure appreciate it, guys. Don't get me wrong, but we need to go ahead and close up shop. We're at the 2-hour mark. So yeah, we'll be back again on Thursday with another Captain Logan show. It'll be an Ask Me Anything show. It might be themed if something comes to us, but at the moment, the plan is just to do a regular show. So come back in and hang out with us if you're so inclined. I have some reviews in the can that will be coming out sporadically over the next several days. And DJ and I will also be bringing back Marvel Mania finally. It's been delayed for like a month or more. So next Tuesday, we'll be finally doing the Ant-Man and the Wasp commentary. Weird that's the one we keep having to put off.
Well, it's good that we've had a break from each other because we'll be able to catch up during that watch.
That's hilarious. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching. Everybody stay safe. Happy New Year. I hope you're having a good one so far, and we'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan, and that was DJ Martinez.
Hi, guys. Happy New Year.
Later, folks. And we're out.